It seems this realm or simulation is specifically designed to get on my nerves. Since I was a child, I was adverse to change, not because I didn't see the value or advantages of improving something, but more because it seemed that it was mostly for the sake of change, a change to benefit something or someone else and not me. And I used to get used to something and then something else takes its place. I then struggle to adapt and struggle to conform, and I'm always being pulled back to what I'm used to. Even if what I was used to was worse than it was before that. So is this some sort of test? Is this a lesson? And what is the purpose of all this? It's like, I almost hate everything here. I mean, not everything, right? I do enjoy the outdoors as long as it's relatively safe and comfortable, of course. And I enjoy reading, using my imagination. I enjoy good conversation, certain foods, certain substances. But most things I do not enjoy. And it's getting really hard to respect other people. I mean, the people are probably the worst part of this whole experience. I think many of us think that way, and I'm not trying to be negative, just being real. Some people are great, but they're limited. They seem fine until they're under pressure. They're put in a situation, an environment they're just not familiar with. And their ability to think critically is like almost zero. Of course, unless it's about a politician they don't like or a sports star they might think is overrated, an actor. They just don't question anything. They don't question their government. They only question certain individuals within government. They do not question all industry leaders or business leaders, the wealthy, the rich. They only think critically of the ones they don't like. They do not question the whole thing, the big picture. They do not question this world. They might be critical of humans that make decisions which affect us all, but not the earth, not the soil, the box they're trapped in. They don't even know there's a box. Interesting, right? You're born, then you're told what to believe, how to think, and you never question any of it. Well, they might question trivial things like an apple a day keeps a doctor away if they're on a keto diet, for instance. But really, how many question everything they've been told to believe? Why do they just take in the program and continue on with their lives? It's like the Truman Show, where Christoph says something like, they accept the reality which is presented, or people accept the reality which is presented. But why? Then we have the NPC theory, which is a term that's used to describe anyone you dislike. And I have to be honest, I don't like the idea of living in a world where most people, or anyone for that matter, is an NPC, but it's hard to not have that on the table. I mean, are people just that stupid? Look how many lined up for their shots a few years ago and continue to do so. Many will admit that they suffered a fever just days after, and then they say, well, that means it's working. Ah, man, this world, it was created to get under my skin. And back to that point, is this a test or a lesson, a class, a way to develop one's spirit? In a sense, it is possible, but why? Because it forces me to think about what is important. It builds character. It creates compassion within me that may not have been there before. It helps me learn. Now, I understand that I may have offended many that believe this is a soul trap. The fact is, I am learning, and you are too. I have to chuckle because I can read your minds, and I know what you're thinking. Humans like to put labels on others and put people into a specific box. Think of a box with a label. Let's visualize for a second if you have the ability to do so. That 3D box has a label on it. The label can be, let's say, white on a brown box, one you could pick up at Home Depot when you're moving. But it can be any color you'd like. It can be green, purple, red, blue, black even. Okay, so there's this white label. Now, as you look at this box, which appears to be, say, 5-10 feet away or 1.5 to 3 meters, now let's zoom in on that white label and you start to see black lettering. You can now see the writing and it says, Soul Trapper. Now zoom out a bit. Just so that you can see more of your visual field, and a second box appears. It's a three-dimensional box, so it's not a square. It's like one of those brown-colored boxes, but you can make it any color you'd like, of course. Now zoom in again. What do you see? A label with black lettering, of course. And what does it say? It says, New Ager. Okay, so like before, zoom out again, but enough so that you can see more than 2 boxes. Now you can see 3, 4, 5 boxes, many boxes with labels on them. They are dancing around, moving up and down, spinning, holding hands, doing the tango break dancing. Okay, now let's freeze the picture and take a look at some of these other 3-dimensional boxes. 3D, remember, not squares. Let's zoom in on box number 3. And what do we have? What does it say? Religious zealot. And the 4th, retard. You get the idea. So we label others and make assumptions because we're just fucking lazy. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not in any of those boxes. Why? Because that part of me died many years ago. Now I am a free-thinking, open-minded spirit whose objective is to make sense of all this. And in a way, it's fun. It's more fun than going on an amusement park ride, going on vacation, partying with old friends until I black out. It's just amusing to me. But not only that, it is the only thing that makes sense. It is discovering who I am and why. Why is this world so crazy? Guys, this world sucks. There, I said it. This reality is a major failure, in my opinion. Things are degrading day by day, year after year. But again, why? Why is it this way? Is it just because I was tricked? Or is this place trying to tell me something? One of the most interesting things is that when I was born into this horror movie, it really wasn't this bad. People seemed nicer, less stressed. People didn't rely on technology like they do today. People were overall happier. There seemed to be more spirit in the world. And then things started getting a little crazier every decade. So I was tricked into a reality where the experience was meant to have things get worse over time. That may not be interesting to some of you, but it is to me. It is interesting that things are degrading over time, and it didn't just start this way. It almost seems like, again, a test, a learning experience to see how I might react, to see what road I choose to go down. Should I choose good or should I choose evil? That seems to be the game that is being played here. The consistent de-evolution of the human spirit and non-stop degradation is like a test. Like there are levels in this, quote, game. Every new thing, every new fear that comes our way is like another level, another test. Where will you be when it all comes to an end? Will you degrade with the other spirits, either choosing evil, giving in to the pressure of conformity? Will you become so consumed with fear that you can hardly get out of bed in the morning? Or will you be strong through it all? Will you be able to stand tall with your head up, shouting, I will not allow this horror to enter my consciousness and devour my spirit. I am free, and you cannot hurt me. You can't even touch me. Who will you be in 2050 or 2100? Will you be like Neo in the Matrix, or will you be like Cypher? You get to make that choice. So what will it be? Or maybe we can just forget all that shit and focus on all the evil in this realm. Focus on the children getting cut into tiny little pieces and thrown into a trash can and then a match is lit. Or maybe we can focus on how they want to put a microchip in our brains. Let's focus on all the school teachers fucking their students, politicians fucking their pets, and so on. Or sucking each other off while their server plays the violin in the corner with his pants down. Isn't that wonderful imagery? Don't you like thinking about that shit? Don't you enjoy thinking about animal cruelty, car accidents, people overdosing on narcotics, slaving away in a system that offers very little reward? Aren't you in love with hell? Aren't you in love with hell? What can we do? What can we do? What will we do? I'll say this. You can have empathy. You can have compassion. You can be concerned of others and even feel sad from time to time. but do not let it consume you. Why do you think they show us all this stuff anyways? Why do you think the news is fear-based like it is? Why do you think certain truthers push fear? It's because they want you to focus on it, instead of focusing on yourself and the people that you love. Most people care or place their attention on news events thousands of miles away instead of the people in their community. They want to break us apart. They want to destroy our communities. And that is why they broadcast these insane stories to us every minute of every day. Focus on your life and what's within the four walls of your home, or even better, focus on what's between your ears and tend to it like you would a beautiful garden. Your mind is that garden. It needs attention and care. It needs the weeds pulled out. It needs to be watered. It needs sunlight. It needs to be treated like a delicate rose. And that rose can't grow with all those weeds. So cut them out. Let them go. Let it go. So you can let your garden grow. We can do it. Just have to try.